This court has no jurisdiction as this matter is a constitutional process under Article 145 and read with 150 of the Constitution. Some of the respondents have gone further as far as arguing that Article 165 sub-Article 3C osts this court's jurisdiction from hearing disputes arising from impeachment of the President and the Deputy President. They also argue that this matter is sub judice, since the orders sought in the application were also sought in petition E522 of 2024. There is no dispute on what jurisdiction is. It is the authority given to a court to hear and determine disputes before it. Jurisdiction of a court may be granted by the Constitution, statute, or both. Any time the jurisdiction of a court is challenged, it is a threshold question which the court has to examine and determine. Should the court determine that it has no jurisdiction to hear a matter, that is the end. The court should not take any further steps. It must down its rules. Those are the famous words of Nyarangi in honors of motor vessel. Addressing the issue of jurisdiction in Samuel Kamau Macharia, the Supreme Court did state the jurisdiction of a court flows from either the Constitution or legislation or both. Thus, a court of law can only exercise jurisdiction conferred by the Constitution or the written law. It cannot arrogate to itself jurisdiction exceeding that which is conferred on it by law. The same point was taken by the same court in interim matter of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. I don't have to read that. Jurisdiction of this court is provided for under Article 165 sub-Article 3 of the Constitution. This court has jurisdiction to, among others, b. determine the question whether a right or a fundamental freedom in the Bill of Rights has been denied, violated, infringed, or threatened, and d. to hear any question respecting the interpretation of the Constitution, including the determination of the question whether anything said to be done under the authority of the Constitution or of any law is inconsistent with or in contravention of the Constitution. Further, Article 23(1) provides that the High Court has jurisdiction in accordance with Article 165 to hear and determine applications for redress of a denial, violation, or infringement of or a threat to a right or fundamental freedom in the Bill of Rights. Article 165(3), as read with Article 23(1), authorizes this court to decide all matters other than those reserved for other courts, such as the Supreme Court, Employment and Labor Relations Court, and Environment and Land Court. Article 165, sub-Article 6, also grants the court supervisory powers over subordinate courts and over any person or a body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial function. The Constitution further grants the court jurisdiction to determine the issue of interpretation of the Constitution and whether anything said to have been done under the authority of the Constitution is inconsistent with the Constitution. The constitutional authorization given to the High Court is expansive. Whether this court has jurisdiction to hear and determine this petition must therefore be viewed through the prism of Article 165, sub-Article 3b and d, and at sub-Article 6 as read with Article 23(1) of the Constitution. This petition alleges what the petitioner perceives to be violations of his right to fair hearing, a right in the Bill of Rights. Whether the right to a fair hearing has been violated is a matter within the jurisdiction of this court. I must add that the right to a fair hearing is guaranteed by Article 155 is one of the non-derogable rights in Article 25C. In Evans, Gidero, and others, the Supreme Court did consider the matter and stated in reference to Article 50, sub-Article 1, that the right to a fair hearing for all persons, and under Article 50, sub-Article 2, which accords all persons the right to a fair hearing, that are used interchangeably, sometimes to define the same concept, and at other times to connote a minor difference, thus follow under the list in Article 25C which lists the right to a fair trial as a non-derogable fundamental right and freedom that may not be limited. The petitioner also argues that the constitutional imperatives in conducting public participation were not met. This falls within the scheme of Article 165, Sub-Article 3, so that this court has jurisdiction to interrogate whether any of its processes or any of the constitutional processes said to have been conducted under the authority of the Constitution met constitutional threshold. In that respect, the issue raised in the petition centers on whether the petitioner's right to a fair hearing guaranteed by the Constitution has been violated and whether anything said to have been done under the authority of the Constitution and any law is inconsistent with or in contravention of the Constitution and therefore falling within the jurisdiction of this court under Article 165, Sub-Article 3B and D. Article 165, Sub-Article 6 further grant this court supervisory powers over anybody, on a person or body exercise judicial or quasi-judicial function, including the National Assembly and the Senate when performing quasi-judicial functions. The first respondent has pushed an argument that this court has no jurisdiction to hear matter arising from impeachment of the President or Deputy President on the basis of Article 165, Sub-Article 3C. That article provides the High Court has jurisdiction to hear an appeal from a decision of a tribunal appointed under this